Okay, guys, so I'm going to pick a meridian or two, and I'm going to take Michelle through um, all the assessment tools that we have, and then all the correction tools we have. I think I'm going to do lung and maybe kidney. Now, Michelle has not gone through this before, so you're going to see me actually explain to her. And if she doesn't understand something, then you'll see how I kind of feel that as we go, okay? So let's start with lung. I've already qualified her muscles, so we don't have to worry about that. So our first assessment tool is our lung alarm point, which we know is the first point of lung meridian. So I'm going to feel for the kind of outer lateral edge of her clavicle. I'm going to go down about 1 inch. I'm going to use my 3-finger neutral notch, thumb first and second finger, and touch the point. And I'm going to ask you to hold. And she's nice and strong. She's using a lot of strength, so I'm going to ask you to use a little bit less strength, okay? Great. Oh, and she went weak there. So I'm not sure if I'm considered as an actual weak test or not, but I'm going to treat it that way. So if I get a weak test or potentially weak test on a lung alarm point, I need to ascertain, does lung have too much energy and need to be calmed or sedated, or is lung under energy and needs to be strengthened? So the way I do that is, first, I'm going to trace lung meridian forwards. And I'm basically saying to lung, are you under energy? Would you like me to give you some more? And then I'm going to go back to the point and say, lung, how did you like that? Did not like that. Now I'm going to trace lung backwards and say, lung, do you have a little bit too much energy? Would it feel better if I take some away? And hold strong. And she's really strong on that. We have not learned the lung muscle test yet, so we will save that for another video. So her lung meridian was happier when I took energy down a little bit. So my first treatment tool is, and this is going to be a specific treatment. She's specifically over energy in lung. So I'm going to use 2 techniques to specifically help move energy out of that meridian. So I'm going to trace lung backwards, and I'm going to do it on both sides of the body 3 times. Remember that when we assess, we trace forwards once or backwards once on one side, just to give it a little taste, to figure out what it wants. And then once we figure it out, we can give it a bigger dose. I'm going to do this on both sides at the same time, but that's hard for you guys. Just do it one side at a time, no problem. So I'm going to start at her thumb because we know lung ends at the thumb. I'm going down the lateral aspect of her forearm, the lateral aspect of her bicep, up and over the shoulders, and ending on lung 1. And I'm going to do that 2 more times. And I recommend that you do this nice and slowly and mindfully, as I am. So first, again, I'm just showing you the very specific techniques. The other specific technique we have is to use either strengthening or sedating points. More powerful way to move the energy. So lung sedation points. The first one, so we have with the strengthening and sedating points, we have the 2 sets of points. The first pair moves energy around the flow cycle to take energy either into or bring it out of a meridian. The second set engages the control cycle to stop the process and help the body integrate the change. So the first set is going to be lung, I think it's lung 5, the lung point at the elbow. So I'm in line with lung meridian at the elbow. And the second one, I'm just going to bend Michelle's knee a bit, is the kidney 10. So you're going to feel behind the knee until you feel for that tendon and leave your finger on it. And I'm going to hold, just lift your arm for 1 second. I'm going to hold both those points at once. Now, I'm not going to hold them for the full time here because this is just a demo. Remember, I'm not pressing, I'm just touching lightly. And I'm going to hold those points for 2 or 3 minutes until it feels like I feel a pulse. If I don't feel a pulse, I'm just going to still hold it for 2 or 3 minutes. Then I'll hold the same set on the other side. So we're going to sedate on both sides before we hold the control sets. And then the control set, we have lung 10, which is right in the middle of this nice meaty part of the thumb. And we have heart 8, which is in line with the pinky when you hit that little crease there. And this one actually, you can do on both sides at once without any trouble. Now, even though Michelle's lung preferred preferred to be sedated, I'm still going to show you the strengthening points so you have that. So the lung strengthening points are, I think that's lung 7 or lung 9, maybe lung 9. Yes, lung 9 for sure. In the crease. So trace down the thumb until you hit the crease at the wrist in line with the thumb. And the other one is spleen 3, which is we go down the inside of spleen meridian. We have the bunion bump. We're going to go proximal to it. So the side of that bump that's closer to the trunk. And I'm going to hold those on both sides for 2 or 3 minutes. And then, as you know, the control points are the same. We'll hold those on both sides. Now, let's say you just were not clear about the test results you're getting, which is really common for new students. So we have our 2 neutral treatments. These treatments neither add energy nor take energy out, but they tonify the meridian in a general way, and that'll be fine to use regardless of over or under energy. So the first of those are the neurolymphatic points, which you'll remember, like the word lymph indicates, they're more for stagnation, physical stagnation. So if someone has had lung congestion for a long time, there's stagnation in there, rubbing those points will be really great. So the lung neurolymphatics are straight down the sternum. So I'm going to start here and I'm going to apply some pressure, but I'm going to check in with her to see, because we know we rub these deeply. Is that tender?
A little.
A little. If I went a little deeper, would that be okay? Or?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to go a little bit deeper. How's that? Okay, so you just check in, but you don't want to blast it and back off. You want to start off gently and amp up. It's a lot easier to go forwards than backwards. And I'm going to bring this just straight down the sternum. Any of those more tender than other points?
Yes,
These are. So those are going to be the ones that need it more. Is that pressure still okay?
it's a little.
It's a little heavy. So I'm going to lighten that up. So just always check in. And then I'm going to go back to the top, go out about an inch on either side. And how's that?
It's okay. It's a little tender.
Little tender also. So we know that these guys can be tender. So you want to go as deep as you can. That is still easily comfortable for the client. Is this still easily comfortable for you? Great. If she's helping me out, I can't hurt her, right? So those are the neurolymphatic points. Now, the other neutral treatment are the neurovascular points, but we know the word blood indicates to us that we're working with blood flow, primarily thinking about the brain. So that when we get stressed, brain leaves the forebrain and goes to the primitive brain. We want to pull that blood and energy back. So this is going to be more for the emotional aspects of the meridian. But again, we can use this for general tonification of the meridian. So the lung neurovasculars on the top of the head. Now I could take a 3-finger notch and hold it, but why not take my whole hand and just place it? And why not grab some of the others if I have a hand available? And if you want to enhance it, put the other hand on the forehead for those main neurovasculars. And you know, the neurolymphatics you might rub for 10 or 15 or 20 seconds. The neurovasculars you could hold for a minute or 2 or for 10 minutes. It's a great way to end a session also. So, and last but not least, super neutral is to hold the beginning and end point of the meridian. So I've got the edge of her thumb right where the thumbnail meets the nail bed, and I'm touching lung 1 over here. And I'm just doing this to show you, but I would have her hand down so she's nice and relaxed. Relaxed clients heal better. And I would definitely do that on both sides. And I might feel a gentle pulsing there as well. So this is just ways that you can kind of navigate your way through the assessment tools that we have available to us and different balancing tools that we can use. Again, the specific ones, tracing forwards or backwards, holding, strengthening, and sedating points, or the more neutral ones, neurolymphatics for physical stagnation, and neurovasculars for the emotional distress in the meridian. Also remembering that you can use those for general tonification, and of course, holding the beginning and end points.